Hi guys. Um, so we're gonna wait for some people to come on. Um, and then I'm gonna start by letting you guys get to know me, the person, just a little bit. Um, First of all, I do want to say though that my statements, I don't presume to speak for the entire group. I'm only speaking for myself. So we're just gonna wait a few minutes for viewers to come on. Um, got a lot of positive response today out there on Columbia Center Boulevard. I was really happy about that. Um, Hi, we're just waiting a couple minutes for other viewers to come on. After I give you guys a chance to get to know me just a little bit, we're going to go over some key talking points for 1639 and why we're protesting it, specifics. It's really important that when we go out to these protests, everyone has this information for quick reference and so that we all look well educated instead of like a bunch of uneducated extremists. Hi. Um, we'll wait for just a couple more people. I know there's a couple more people that said they wanted to watch. We are going to be breaking down some definitions of some wording in the Washington State Constitution and the United States Constitution. And I'll also be quoting areas of 1639, specific sections, paragraphs, and subsections that directly violate those two constitutions. Because what's the point in protesting someone or something, not someone, protesting something if you don't know exactly why you're protesting it, right? All right, so I'm going to go ahead and get started. Hello, everyone. My name is Radana. For those of you who don't know me and haven't personally met me, that's how you pronounce my name, Radana. Again, I don't speak for everybody in this group. I'm only speaking for myself at this moment. I'll speak for the group later on in this broadcast. But for right now, I'm a Christian. I'm a Christian woman. I'm a mother, and I'm also a Republican. I used to be a Democrat. I voted for Obama, his first run. Not super thrilled about that. Not my proudest moments. Being a Christian does not mean that I'm a bigot, that I'm a racist, that I'm a homophobic, or that I'm a gun-toting, uneducated redneck. Redneck? Maybe a little. Uneducated? No. Not even close. Hi. Thank you for joining us. So that's just a little bit about me. Is you can be something and it doesn't automatically mean that you're a racist or you're a bigot. You can be a Christian, you can be an atheist, and it doesn't automatically mean that you promote hate or that you hate God. It just means you don't believe in him. You know, that's my view. I am a Christian. I believe very firmly in God. I follow Jesus Christ. It means everything to me. That being said, The Bible, the book that I base my faith on, calls us to have a spirit of boldness. Now, I've never had much of a spirit of boldness until now, until just recently. I've always been soft-spoken. Those that know me personally can say I've always been soft-spoken. I haven't really spoken out about much of anything. Well, that's changed. Hence the title of the page, Silent No More. I'm silent no more. I will never be silent again. I made a Facebook post months ago that said that if they came for the guns, that people would see a side of me that they'd never seen before. That I would stand up and use my voice. And I'm standing up and using my voice now. All right, so let's get into 1639, key talking points about this. This is for when you're trying to explain it to people who might not know. I've encountered a lot of people who are not familiar with 1639, despite the fact that it was just voted on. They don't know what it is. They didn't even know it was a gun initiative. Okay? So 1639, it violates, we're going to talk about the Washington State Constitution for just a second. Article 1, Section 24 of the Washington State Constitution. The right of the people to keep and bear arms will not be impaired. Impaired, the definition of impaired is weakened or damaged. If you go into 1639 and you read Section 3 and Section 4, the entire section weakens and or damages our right to bear arms. All right? And this is stuff that I've read directly from the text, but again, I encourage you all to go and fact check. Don't take my word for it. All right? Go and look up, you can Google the full text of 1639 and it'll show up in a PDF file. You open that PDF file and you read it. There's a lot of information to read in there. All right, now the Second Amendment of the Constitution of the United States. There's a key phrase in there. I'm gonna paraphrase it. Now I'm not gonna quote the whole thing. That one says, "The right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed." Infringed. We're going to talk about that definition for a moment. Infringed. The definition is actively break the terms of, in parentheses, a law, agreement, etc. That's the first definition. Definition 2 is act so as to limit or undermine something. Limiting and undermining something. Actively break the terms of a law or an agreement. The Constitution was an agreement entered into by our founding fathers. 1639 actively breaks that agreement. 1639 breaks that agreement. Now, act so as to limit or undermine. Limiting or undermining. 1639 puts a lot of limits on our right to bear arms. A lot of limits. So many limits that it requires us to take hundreds of dollars worth of safety classes. And we have to pass all these different background checks. Now, a felony background check, I understand. I get that. I don't want violent criminals having access to firearms. I don't. But myself and and the two gentlemen that were out there with me today, John and Jeff, why can't they have access to firearms? Why do they now have to go and take these classes? Again, if you read section 3 and 4 of 1639, the statements in those sections are where the biggest limitations come from. All right, now we're going to go over, and I hate to beat a dead horse, but we're going to go over the HIPAA law. All right. in the HIPAA law, and I actually went in and I read the HIPAA law today. In the HIPAA law, protected information includes any information about health status, provision of health care, and payment. All right? Any information about health status. Hi. Health status. That includes mental health status. All right? Signing an application for a gun implies blanket consent under 1639's Section 3, subsection B, paragraph 3. All right? You sign a blanket consent to release of information. And here's a quote from that section. A signed application to purchase a pistol or semi-automatic rifle. It doesn't just apply to semi-auto rifles anymore. No, it doesn't just apply to that. A lot of people thinks that it only applies to that. It does not. It applies to pistols. This is a quote directly from this section of 1639. Signed application to purchase a pistol or semi-auto rifle constitutes a waiver of confidentiality and written request to healthcare authority, mental health institutions, to release to inquiring court or law enforcement agencies. All right? So, you sign an application for any firearm, a pistol, handgun, semi-automatic rifle, what have you, any firearm. You are now authorizing them to dig into your medical records, all medical records, because it doesn't limit it to just mental health records. It says any relevant information to determine eligibility. All right? So say someone has been diagnosed with, this brings up more situations now. Say someone has been diagnosed with a terminal illness, right? Diagnosis with terminal illness is very heavily associated with certain mental illnesses that develop, like depression, general mood instability. You know, it's also associated with some anger, you know, basic things. You get angry when you find out, you know, you're not going to live very long. You get angry when you find out you got cancer sometimes, you know? All right. So that's the big thing about how it violates HIPAA. The next thing that I'm going to address is Section 5. The entirety of Section 5 of 1639 is where it discusses criminal charges, who can be prosecuted for improper storage of a firearm. But then I went back and I double checked, because a lot of people are saying, no, it doesn't say you have to keep it locked in a safe. A lot of people were saying it did. And I went in and I double checked. It actually has a quote at the end of Section 5 that says, nothing in this section is meant to define what is proper storage of a firearm. So, just like we saw earlier today, first thing this morning when I woke up, I saw an article about, an AR-15 style rifle was stolen out of a police car where it was allegedly locked in a rack. So there we have a situation where under this new law, that police officer would then potentially be charged with a crime. He would lose his job, he'd lose his badge, he'd lose his right to bear arms, all in one fell swoop because some punk decided to go and break into his car and steal a gun. I would lose my right to bear arms, I would be charged with a crime, and go to jail if some punk decided to come into my house and steal my gun. It criminalizes the victims. All right? And one more point on 1639 directly, really quick. And these are talking points. These are where you can go to find the information if you're asked a question about it. For those that are going to be protesting with us tomorrow, we're going to be there tomorrow at 10 a.m. at Fred Meyer for a pre-protest meeting. It's really important because we need to be able to go over where the boundaries are so that we're not overstepping a line unknowingly. I've got all that information from the Kennewick and Richland Police Department as well as the City of Kennewick. And all of our protesters need to be aware of it so that no one is violating any rules, any laws, or ordinances so that they don't have any excuse and any reason, because the police departments want no reasons to interfere with us or arrest us. They like what we're doing. All right, so, which brings me to my next point. Our police officers are already overworked, which is why small crimes slip through the cracks, why their response times are so long, and why they're just overworked. There aren't enough of them. They work long shifts. All right, so the whole of 1639 requires all of these extra background checks and eligibility determinations to be done through law enforcement. Our police officers, our sheriffs, our county sheriffs, our state patrols, all of these officers that should be out there worrying about other crimes, major crimes, violent crimes, crimes like rape, robbery, muggings, gang activities, people selling methamphetamines to children. Instead of doing that and worrying about all of those things, they now have to deal with what is guaranteed to be a backlog of all of these applications for gun ownership. Because people aren't going to stop buying guns. They're just not. It's our right. We have that constitutional right. And they can't take it away, so people aren't going to buy them. But our law enforcement officers, first of all, personally, I'd like to thank all of our law enforcement officers for their service. All right? But our law enforcement officers are going to be inundated and overwhelmed with even more paperwork, going through all of these applications. Yeah. So what are they going to do? They're going to overload the officers that we already have? Or are they going to have to use taxpayer money, more taxpayer money, to go in and hire a whole bunch more officers? A whole bunch more officers to pick up the huge workload that this is going to make for police officers in our state. All right, I hope I kind of went through that a little bit fast. I hope I didn't go through that too fast for all of you. To recap, Article 1, Section 24 of the Washington State Constitution states that the right of the people to bear arms shall not be impaired. Impaired means weakened or damaged. Section 3 of 1639 and Section 4 violates that Constitution and impairs, weakens, and damages our right to bear arms. Second Amendment of the United States Constitution, the word is infringed. Infringed means to actively break the terms of a law or agreement. Definition 2, act so as to limit or undermine something. Section 3 and 4 of 1639 grossly violate that. We went over the HIPAA laws. Signing an application to purchase a pistol or semi-automatic rifle constitutes a waiver of confidentiality and written request to healthcare authority, mental health institutions to release to inquiring court or law enforcement agencies those records. That's a quote directly out of 1639. Section 5 creates situations where crime victims are charged with crimes. Someone breaks into our house, steals my gun, I can get charged with a crime. If they so much as pull the gun out and display it, not just use it in a crime, but if they pull the gun out and display it, I can get charged with a misdemeanor. Improper storage of a firearm. All right, so then the whole of 1639 requires all these checks to go through law enforcement. Hi. That would more than double, triple, quadruple the workload for our law enforcement officers. They're already overwhelmed enough, especially in areas like Seattle, King County, high crime areas. I don't want police officers sitting at a desk going through gun applications when they could be out there preventing someone from getting raped, mugged, or killed. Our police officers need to be active, not sitting at a desk reviewing applications. All right, so those are some key talking points. There were a couple of things that popped up tonight. I'm pretty sure a lot of you saw me share the tweet from Representative Eric Swalwell from California. His statement about that tweet is that he was being sarcastic. Now, I'm going to use some free language here, but I tweeted back to him flat out. What happens? What does the United States do every time another country bombs or terrorizes its citizens? We bomb them, and we bomb them hard. All right? Representative Swalwell announced on Twitter earlier today, in response to someone standing up for their gun rights, he responded with, the person he was responding to made a statement about it would start a war. It would start a civil war. And he responded with, it would be a very short-lived war. The government has nukes, lots of them, and they're legit. And then made a little quote about maybe we can talk about things and work it out. I don't know about you all, but speaking for myself, that can't be tolerated. He was just elected to office, and he's already going on a national level to grab our guns, talking about national gun confiscation and bombing those that don't comply with nukes. To me, that's dangerously close to domestic terrorism. One of our members posted the definition of domestic terrorism earlier today. When I'm done with the broadcast, I will go back and I will post it at the top of the page. Because I can't get into it right now. But a large definition of it is acts to intimidate or coerce the public or the government to a way of thinking. I'm paraphrasing there. So, I can't tolerate that. I don't know if you guys can tolerate that. Yes, and treason. And treason. So, my next question now is, how many other newly elected officials are going for this gun grab? How many other newly elected officials have the same way of thinking? Now, I know for a fact that our state has a militia. I know for a fact many, many, many other states have an unofficial militia. Our citizens cannot tolerate our government officials tromping on the Constitution, trying to take away our rights. Right now it's the Second Amendment. Next it's going to be the First Amendment. Freedom of speech, freedom of assembly, freedom, our freedoms. Everything that our founding fathers started this country for. Everything that they did when they fought in the Revolutionary War. When people fought in the Civil War. Revolutionary War. To gain our independence. Why do we celebrate the 4th of July? All of this spits in their faces. It stomps on the Constitution. And it makes it makes our own government, not all of our representatives, but certain ones, the ones that are in favor of gun confiscation, taking our guns, more gun laws, those officials are slapping our veterans in the face. They're slapping our current soldiers that are deployed right now in the face. And say, yeah, you can go overseas, you can go somewhere else and you can fight for what's right. But over here, while you're gone, we're going to change what's right back at home. And when you come back, you're not going to have any rights. You're going to have to do what we say. You want to know what that's called? That's called a dictatorship. Dictatorships are run by one person. Okay, so maybe it wouldn't be a dictatorship. I'm not really sure what to call it. I don't know all the terms, but a group of people ruling over a nation with an iron fist, taking away their rights. Oh, wait. I know what to call it. I know what to call it. Jay Inslee, do you know what to call that? Do you know what to call it when a group of people rolls over a nation and starts taking away their rights? Picking and choosing who should be armed? Picking and choosing who has rights? Do we know what to call that? I do. I can think of a group that was very, very similar not that long ago that a lot of people have wanted to forget about and a lot of people have denied even happened. I don't know if all of you are thinking of the same group that I am. But their leader was Hitler. Jay Inslee. Eric Swalwell. And others like you. Is that what the American people are looking at right now? Are we being disarmed? And our freedom of speech and rights taken away? Yes, John. That's exactly the group I was thinking of. Democrat or Republican, liberal or conservative, Christian or atheist, white, black, brown, Asian, gay, not gay, transgender, this is a people issue. This is a people issue. Silent No More Repeal 1639 is having another protest tomorrow. We will meet at the Fred Meyer in Kennewick on 10th Avenue at 10 a.m. And then we will be going to our various protest locations. That meeting is very important because we do need to go over things and make sure we're all on the same page. You know, if you're going to be concealed carrying, make sure you have your permit with you. If you're going to be open carrying, make sure you do it responsibly, carefully. We don't want anybody to accidentally get shot. That would kind of blow our entire protest out of the water. We don't want to break any laws because that doesn't make much of a point. Just makes us look crazy. All right, guys. That's pretty much everything that I had to say. I'll see you tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. at Fred Meyer on 10th Avenue in Kennewick. I have a favor to ask you guys. This video is a bit different than the last ones that I posted. Make this go viral. We need to go national on this. Make this video go viral. Share the heck out of our page. Share the heck out of our event. And I hope to see all of you guys tomorrow. I'll be doing one more post tonight. If everybody could watch for that post and please sound off as to whether or not you're going to be attending so that I can get a rough head count. Christopher Paulson from Keeper is wanting an update about our turnout for tomorrow. He came out today, but there wasn't much for him to really report about because we only had 3 people. Doesn't make much of a news story. That's all right though. Tomorrow's turnout will be better, and I'll be continuing to do these protests in the coming weeks and in the coming months. I'll be making my way all across the state of Washington. If you want to have a protest in your city, feel free to do so. Post it on the page so that we all know. So that any of us that want to travel to your city for the protest, we can. All right, guys, I'm out. I'll see you all tomorrow.